We're home. You guys, we're back. We're back. We're back. This is a different view of the living room because it's retreat week here. But we're going to talk about short box placement on your reformer. So what I want this to be is I want your personal questions. Tell me your complaints, your height, your wonders, your worries. I want it here. Brad's going to read the comments because it will make this video more personal. And then you can compare this to the video we released a few weeks ago all about the short box. So hi, I'm Lesley Logan, and we go live every Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific time, answering the questions we get in the comments of our tutorials. So it's our way of helping you out, whether you're a Pilates instructor or a Pilates curious person, new client, been doing Pilates for years. We love to answer your questions. We try to keep them candid and honest and get rid of that like myth busting, because there's a lot of weird rules out there in the Pilates world. And sometimes they are there for a reason, and sometimes they're kind of made up. So we want to dig into it. This is a contrology reformer, which means that when I use my short box, there is placement options that I have based on the person and the height. But I kind of want to discuss what I've seen out there and why the box placement might have changed. Okay, so first of all, I want you to notice that my straps for the short box are below the frame. And so when they come up, the angle that they come at gives me something to pull against that gets me into my center a lot more. If you don't put your foot bar down, a lot of times your straps, if they have the same placement, are limited. So I see a lot of people with studio reformers, they have the same strap placement as mine, but they don't put the foot bar down. And maybe it's annoying, maybe it's an extra step. The problem is it's actually going to limit the length of your strap, so you don't want to do that, okay? You want to get the foot bar out of the way so you have full strap length, all right? Then the next thing about the strap is some equipment has the strap coming from across the top. Because of that, it affects a lot of things. One of those being something you can actually pull against at the correct angle. Second thing is it means your feet are often just resting on a platform, which makes people think that their feet should be able to rest upon a platform. That's actually not the case. So they happen to be on a platform there because of the strap setup, but that isn't how I determine if somebody is set up correctly. I determine if someone's set up correctly because their legs can be straight and reaching without them feeling like they're falling off the box in either direction. All right. Yes. So we've got Jess Shields on, and because she's on the fun side, shorter side, petite side, she will actually turn her box to be long so she can get to the strap length. That tells me a few things. I've seen that done, and it can be done decent. It also can affect you getting the leg length that we need. So I would say that that has to be specific to the reformer type you're using, because on my reformer, that would actually probably disrupt your connection. It would mean your legs are resting more than I would like. But I do love that you found that option to work for you, and you should do it if it is actually helping you get into the correct position. So here's the deal. This is an 80-inch reformer. They make 86 and 91s. Reformer length doesn't change from the foot bar to the shoulder blocks in most brands. Reformer length typically changes back here, okay? So if you are on the more petite side and you're on a longer reformer, it's going to affect the straps connecting to you. It's going to affect the physics of the straps. When we're not using the straps, it shouldn't affect it at all. Now, the default of a lot of studios is that the short box goes in front of the shoulder rest. And that default is often because of what's behind the shoulder blocks. So if you're using ropes, there's mechanisms on the side, and you should still be able to get your box over the shoulder blocks without being on the mechanisms, but some people can't. And so that's why they go in front. The problem with in front is if you are of the average height or taller, now your legs are bent. And that isn't what we want. We want the longest reach, because I don't want you hanging off your hip flexors. It is the exercise we do on the short box require your seat and your stomach to be working together. And if the legs are bent, it's just how anatomy works. These are going to be working more, okay? So what I would do if I had to be in front of the shoulder rest and I had a taller person. So for someone who's on the more shorter side, I also could move the box closer and put yoga blocks or what's called a spacer box in between. I would do that over doing it as a long box, by the way, for my peeps who really need it to be even closer. But if I have to on this in front because of mechanisms back here, I want to gear out for people who are on the taller side. What do I mean by gearing out? There's a gear bar here, and I can actually move my carriage out, which creates the space that I would have gotten had I gone over the shoulder blocks. Yes, it's annoying. Yes, it takes time. But isn't it better to get the muscles you want working versus saving time in the setup? Yes, it is always better to get the muscles you want working. So if you have to go in front of the shoulder blocks and someone is taller, we need to gear them out. We can gear them out a lot. The thing is, like, ideally no one is moving around, and how they get on and off a box is really key. So if they're going to get on gently and I have someone who's taller and I don't want to gear out, I can go over and back, right? I can go as far as I need here. It's a little bit tilted, but it's not the biggest deal. So I can actually do that as well. But the goal, and I know we have a question, so don't worry, stay tuned. The goal is that when I sit on this box and I have my feet in the strap, I am actually reaching my legs out. So I'm not pulling like this. I'm pushing my legs out this way. So I have enough space here for the top of my seat to touch. If you put your feet in the strap and you feel like you're falling off the front, it's a sign that your box needs to be in front of the shoulder rests. If you are sitting here and you feel like you're going to fall off the back, it's a sign that we need to gear you out or move your box further back. Okay, what questions do we have?
The question was, I often have, if my student is sitting long legs and tailbone at the edge of the box, should they be gearing out?
Yes, if they're sitting and their legs are long. So the question is, like, if they're sitting on the box and their tailbone's at the back edge and their legs are straight, should I gear out? Yes, absolutely. So you can see I have very long legs. My legs are like the length of someone who's 6 feet on average. So here I am, and I am comfortable here. I still have box to touch here. But if I was just say here, that's not good because I don't have anything to work with. So I would actually gear me out so that I have, I can put like almost all 4 fingers on the box between my seat and the edge of the box. That's what you want. You want like about that much space, right? So that you have something to move your pelvis onto and still feel safe. Yeah. Yeah. What else, Brad? Anything else? Yeah, I think like I just came up with that, Shields, because I was like, I don't know if that's who. Hi, JV. I love that because I have seen the short box option, and it's also often people teach it for newbies because they're afraid of falling off. To be honest, in a perfect world, you would experience short box on the ladder barrel, which is a little scary because it's taller, but you'd experience it there first so you understand what you're doing and you have feedback of a barrel. But the other thing is like, I too often people are changing things and that's causing the legs to be in a rest position. Pull straps, people's chests are forward off the box, causing the legs to be in a rest position. Having that long box, I'm afraid the legs would be resting, and then you're actually just working from your back. And I really want us to be working like you can watch how tall I get. Ready? Watch how tall I get. So this is me in a rest position. My legs are resting. Now, if I turn my seat on and do you see how I got taller? And so then because this is on, because my outer hips are on and my hamstrings are working, I can actually go back and my pelvis is going with me. And when I come up, my pelvis is going with me. I'm not arching at my lower back, right? And that's when we do tall back, right? I don't have a pull. So when we do tall back, my pelvis has to come with me. I need my seat on. If my legs are in a rest position, it's going to make that really hard. Or if my hip flexors are doing the work, then I'm just going to be pulling and hinging off of my hip flexors. It's not going to feel fun. Yeah. Hi, Christine. Which Christine? Hi, Christine. Ashton, I'll see you in a few days.
Just asked, what are your thoughts on fuzzier straps for short box work.
Oh, the fuzzy. Oh, what are my thoughts? Sorry, I'm supposed to repeat the question. What are my thoughts on a fuzzy across the strap? Okay, let me just explain to you where that came from. Back in the day when the Beverly Hills ladies were going to Ron Fletcher's studio, they complained about the strap on their feet. And so that's where the sheep fur came to be on this part. I think it's actually it makes me feel unstable. I actually find that it makes the strap feel like it's slide on my feet. One, it's one more thing to wash. Annoying. Two, most studios in public require you to wear socks anyways. Now you've got socks on that fuzzy. And so there's not a lot of organic feeling, right? Like my feet on this strap, I can feel if my feet are sliding back and forth. If they're doing that, I'm losing connection. When I go back, if my feet narrow, that is me actually using. I'm losing my outer hips. I'm actually not active in my inner thighs as much. My hip flexors might be taking over. I might have sunk. It's telling me I'm not connected. If as I come up they get wide, that's telling me I'm not reaching out as much the whole time. My legs should stay the same width the whole time. They don't get to go back and forth. So I find the fuzzy just causes it to be really difficult to maintain that stability and actually encourages sliding around. So it's not my favorite thing. I look, it looks pretty, but the strap, once it's been used, like if you have a new strap, throw it in the washer and the dryer a couple times. I promise you it'll get softer. But also again, if you're wearing socks, you should already have protection from the strap. So we don't need that extra step. It's just extra money. I don't know. It's some one of those things I'm like, the equipment's expensive enough. We don't need to spend more.
She said she think that needs to use something similar to the ladder barrel as well.
Oh, a fuzzy strap on the ladder barrel. I think that's a waste of time as well. So a fuzzy, and you can. We actually have a live tutorial about this last year. The ladder barrel space from the first pole to the second pole got narrower over time because people wanted to flex their feet against the bar. And then we needed to add a pad, and people are like, why add a pad? We could add this beautiful fuzzy thing and just have it on there all the time. But it wasn't supposed to be that way. So my ladder barrel, if you look at it in our ladder barrel tutorials, you'll see I'm not ever flexing my foot against the top rung. I am always pushing into it. So I don't need that. So if you're doing it correctly, you're actually pushing, just like I'm reaching here. I'm reaching here, right? Yes, my feet are flexed back here, but it's to pull on the strap. On the ladder barrel, your knees are bent, so you need to push into the pole to get this to turn on. So you don't want that fuzzy. I can save you more money. What other things are they trying to sell you guys? they're trying to sell you so many things. Like, I feel like, do you know how like the Stanley Cup got really popular? And so then it was like, oh, well, you need this tray to go on your Stanley Cup. And then you need a purse to add to your Stanley Cup. And then you need this Labubu to add to your Stanley Cup. All of a sudden, the Stanley Cup is like a purse in your hand. And it's like, you just needed a water bottle, right? Like, so like, I feel that typically if something is painful in the equipment on your body, there's a good chance that you're not in the right setup. Okay. I'm not saying things are comfortable, but it should not be painful. And so we have to often check setups because that will often fix the problem. Foot bars, they never had padding. And then people added padding because it hurt people's feet. But then guess what? Now the foot bars are so big, it's actually affecting your wrists, right? So then it's like, I can't get you out of your wrists if your foot bar is really thick. I can take a sticky pad and just place it on my foot bar for your feet. So we can do that, right? So there's just the different things kind of affect how things feel in the body. We have another question.
JV says, can we do reason to tighten or loosen the strap?
Would there be a reason to tighten or loosen the strap? I'm imagining she's saying the strap down here. Would there be a reason? I'm sure there is. There's so many brands of reformers and knockoffs out there that like they might have messed with the space between the shoulder blocks and the strap.
I was also going to ask, what if you can't gear out?
Right. So like, and then Brad was saying like, what if you can't gear out? Like A2s. Oh my God. The A2s, you know, when you've like done something so long, you're now on the other side of the bell curve. That's where we're at today. The Allegro 2 cannot gear out, right? So, but that strap goes across the top. So I would probably not ever lengthen that strap. I would keep it as taut as possible so you can, or maybe loosen it so you can get your feet to flex the right way. But that's a difficult one. But if the strap is like where I am, I had to tighten a client's because it was too loose. You know, I actually just like made a knot in it. But I would, that was a home client. It was their reformer. No one else was getting on it. So I would say if I was a studio owner, I would probably try to find the best placement for someone. I know studios that like their foot bar can click in or out. And so what they do is they actually have a marking that says like A for average person. And then they have a guy named Paul who's super tall. And so it has a P, like a little piece of like paint electrical tape. It says P for Paul. So he knows where his foot bar is. And then they have someone who's super short. And so she has her own and they have it taped there. But like, you don't, that's because the foot bar can move in and out. What we don't want is to have to shorten and lengthen that during your day on top of everything else. So I would probably try to find a place for where the short box goes so that the standard strap length would work. That's what I would probably do. Brad stepped away, so hold on, stay tuned. While we have spring training coming up, this is my show commercial. We have spring training coming up, and if you're an OPC member, you got an invite to how you register for free. I think then in the next day or so, it's the last day. And then if you are not an OPC member yet, early bird registration is like right around the corner. So make sure you go to opc.me/events to get on the wait list, and that means you'll for sure see the invitation to get the early bird. We have 10 classes. So there's a mat only track, which is $28. I don't know, maybe it's cheaper on the early bird. I actually was reading the wrong emails. I'm not going to tell you the prices because I don't remember. I think I'm bringing up the full price. But then there's if you have equipment access, there's going to be 4 mats, 4 reformers, 1 tower, 1 winded chair. So lots of great stuff with the OPC team. We're talking about going upside down.
It's going to be in May.
It's in May 12th and 17th. That I know. Okay, Brad, anything else from our lovely live audience? You guys are the best. Thanks for joining me live. I missed you for the couple of weeks that Brad and I were in Europe. Had no idea the time zone. Oh my God, we had to do spring forward twice, which is annoying. But we're back. And while we are doing some things around the Southwest, you will not miss your live. They will happen. So keep your questions coming in the comments. If you're an OPC member, remember that you can film yourself doing the exercise. You can film your short box setup, and I will give you some feedback on it, personalized feedback. So those are your options to get more support from us. Thank you so much. Have an amazing day.